Good morning, everyone. Or if you're going to be watching this later, it's probably whatever time you want to make it be. This is Randy Hawthorne. I am the executive editor of Nonprofit Hub, and I have with me today Jay Wilkinson, the CEO of Firespring. How are you, Jay?
I'm doing great, and I'm already struck by the profoundness of your morning epiphanies. This is fantastic.
Yeah, well, in these times, you just don't know what brain's going to come to the table. You really don't. How are you handling it?
It's been okay. You know, my quarantined brain is also struggling to flex itself a little bit, but we're going day by day and doing the best with what we have.
Yeah, if you check in with me this afternoon, I'm sure I will be on fire and everything will be running at all pistons. So you have some exciting news that you want to share with us today. It's actually a mutual exciting news, but I'm going to let you do most of the talking. We're getting involved with Giving Tuesday Now, which is coming up very soon. We have a bunch of partners that are getting together, but Nonprofit Hub and Firespring have kind of started off this whole process with Giving Tuesday Now. Jay, could you give us a little background about, first of all, Giving Tuesday, for those people that don't know what that's about?
I would be happy to. Giving Tuesday is a remarkable organization that's done so much good for philanthropy, for nonprofits all over the world. And I remember when they started up back in 2012, it was a collaborative kind of coming together of missions of the United Nations Foundation and the local Y, the 92nd Street Y in New York City. And their intention was just basically to set aside a day that was all about celebrating the generosity of giving. And they chose on the day, the Tuesday following Thanksgiving, because there was a lot of talk about Black Friday and then Cyber Monday, and then they said, well, what about a day of giving, a day of philanthropy? They made that day on the Tuesday following Thanksgiving, so they call it Giving Tuesday. And that first year, it was wildly successful beyond their dreams. They raised over $10 million for nonprofits all over, but man, has it grown since. Last year, it's estimated that nearly $2 billion total was given on Giving Tuesday. More than 500 million of that happened online in various places. And Giving Tuesday is now really more of a movement. It's not an event. It's not only about going to Giving Tuesday's website and making a donation to a website. Giving Tuesday has partnered with platforms and consultants, thought leaders and speakers, and essentially anyone that's catering to and focused on the nonprofit sector, helping educate them to be aware of how to utilize this day. And then, of course, the general public. So they bring celebrities to the table and prominent philanthropists, and they're going to take the power and force behind their reputation to a new day this year. The board decided just a few weeks ago to create a second day this year. Instead of just Giving Tuesday after Thanksgiving, they've announced this new movement called Giving Tuesday Now, which is specifically being referred to as a global day of giving and unity that will take place on May 5th as an emergency response to the unprecedented need caused by COVID-19. So that's who Giving Day is and what's happening.
That is awesome that they've decided to help extend that during this time. And so many people can partner with this, and I'm really excited that we got together and have come up with a pretty cool plan to help be a part of this movement. Jay, can you give us a little bit of detail about that?
I can indeed. So a coalition, a gathering of thought leaders throughout the space came together and started thinking about what can we be doing, what should we be doing to help elevate this cause for everyone. And one of the things that immediately came to the surface as a result of the work that we're doing is the possibility of creating and working together on a platform that would make it possible for any nonprofit in the United States to connect with their network, to reach out to the people that support them, and raise money through that platform. So Firespring, the company that I work with, partnered with Nonprofit Hub, Randy and his entire team, and an organization called Do More Good, which is a movement around helping put purpose in business. We're all partnering together and have combined forces with GivingTuesdayNow to create a matching fund initiative. So this initiative is available to any nonprofit located in the United States that is a 501c3 and that also has a profile set up on GuideStar. We have such a short timeline with this. We had to use the GuideStar certification or accreditation as a way to vet nonprofits that are qualified and eligible to be part of this. So you probably have a GuideStar profile already, even though you may not have ever claimed it. This will be your chance to go and claim it and make sure that you got it out there. We also are making available, in fact, the most important part of this is the fact that we are building a match fund. We've set a goal to raise $5 million for a match fund. We already have the first $10,000 contributed to it. And we haven't even rolled it out yet. It's going to roll out tomorrow and the next day. So the rest of this week, it is rolling out. That match seed is just the beginning. Firespring is also designating our entire platform fee. So the way that the Giving Day programs work is they take the payment company, the processing company, will get 2.9% and 30 cents a transaction, which is kind of an industry standard, and those transaction fees go to the payment processor, and the donors will have the ability to click a button and cover that spread as well, so that your organization gets 100% of their intended donation. But the platform fee, the 1%, is all going back into the match fund, and we're estimating that to be $150,000 over the course of this entire engagement that will go right back in to the match fund, and which means it comes back to you and your organization. The match funds are basically configured by having every single nonprofit that is part of this essentially get their proportional share of the match fund. So we're really excited about this.
And so that sounds like it makes this a lot different than some of the other opportunities that you might be able to have with Giving Tuesday and some other platforms. Are there any other things that you can see that make this different to partner with us on this?
Well, the match fund by far is first and foremost. There are other platforms that have announced variations of match funds. The only ones that we've been able to locate so far, we know over at GoFundMe, there was a match fund that was created for the first 300 organizations to raise $1,000 on their platform, and of course, that was done in the first weekend they announced it. So it's no longer available as a match fund, but there are lots of other platforms and organizations out in the world that are helping elevate and maximize the return on investment for nonprofits. We think that this one is really special in that the match funds do not run out. There is no that there will be a proportional share for every organization, and we're creating a match fund specifically for every state in the United States plus the District of Columbia. So there are 51 regional match funds plus a national match fund that every nonprofit participating in this initiative will share in. One of the other things that I'm really excited about is we're going to do a deep and ample training to help nonprofits understand how to leverage this. The first of those sessions actually starts today. And again, if you're listening to this on broadcast or on a recorded version, you're able to go to firespring.com/webinars and see a full schedule of when these educational events are. But the first one is happening this afternoon at 2:30 Central Time, where the Chief Marketing Officer of Firespring is going to lay out really quickly and really succinctly exactly how nonprofits can leverage this. So that training, it's 100% free. Nonprofits can sign up and participate in this without spending a single penny. This is all about the nonprofits that we're trying to help. And then the last thing, Randy, is we are leveraging the vast networks of Nonprofit Hub, which Randy is probably a little bit too humble to share this, but as many of you know, Randy is very well known throughout the nonprofit sector as the head of Nonprofit Hub and the creator of Cause Camp, which is one of the preeminent nonprofit educational conferences anywhere in the world. Randy has connections with thought leaders and speakers and essentially the movers and shakers throughout the nonprofit sector. And of course, Randy's going to be leveraging those relationships and bringing all of those folks to the table. The more people we bring to this initiative, the better it's going to be for all of us. It's all about that abundance mentality. The rising tide lifts all boats. So we want to bring our eyeballs to the table so the nonprofits on our left and our right have the ability to bring theirs, and we'll elevate the network and really create something special here. And so it's the combining nature of bringing all of these organizations together and the free training and, of course, the match funds that really make it unique.
Stop, Jay, stop. But no, I do love my nonprofit friends out there in the world. There are a lot of awesome people that are working in this industry. So getting a lot of questions in the question box already. What are some ways that nonprofits can leverage and take full advantage of all of this?
Well, again, market. There's never been a better time to use your Google ad grants that you probably signed up for maybe 3 years ago and then never got back to. We hear that a lot from nonprofits that we work with. This is a great time to use video to get the word out. And donors should know that this opportunity to donate to your organization using this platform will make the donation go further, because the more of your local donors you get to contribute to your fund, the more of that proportional matching fund you're going to participate in. So this should be, if you have 4 or 5 different places out in the world where you have donation platforms set up, at least for the time period that this initiative is live, you should be focusing donors here, because this is going to be the place where you get a proportional match. So that's the most important way to take full advantage of it. And I've got on the screen here, you can see several of the most important dates. On Thursday, April 23rd, registration is going to open so nonprofits can begin signing up beginning Thursday, April 23rd at 10 a.m. Central Time. Now, anyone right now can go to nonprofithub.org/GivingTuesdayNow and plug in your email address and your name, and you will get an email notification when that registration opens, just to remind you. So we encourage you to do that. But registration opens on Thursday, April 23rd at 10 a.m. Donations are wide open on the platform the following day, on Friday the 24th. But nonprofits have to be signed up and in the system by May 1st in order for them to be on the platform when May 5th rolls around, which is the Giving Tuesday Now National Day of Giving. So make sure that your nonprofit is in the system by May 1st at the latest. It'll take you maybe 15 minutes to go upload your logo, add your add the compelling reasons why people should give to your organization. You can connect to videos and other things there, but that has to be done by May 1st. Now, one thing that's also unique about this initiative is, even though we're going to really push and promote and pile on the day of May 5th, which is the actual date of Giving Tuesday Now, we are going to leave open the platform for donations all the way through May 26th, so that we can take maximum advantage of the awareness that's going to happen on May 5th. And then hopefully you can ride that wave out in your communities and keep driving people to your page all the way through May 26th. The donations will close down on that day, and then payments will begin being distributed on June 9th. So that's basically the key dates and the action steps that people need to be aware of as we move into this.
All right, getting a lot of questions about that matching fund. Who's eligible? Kind of talk a little bit more about what the proportional match is, all of those sorts of things. And it looks like you've got a great slide that kind of starts getting into that.
Yeah, so some of this I brought up on the screen. Here's the way the match works. It's the last question on the FAQ that I have on the screen now. There's one overarching match fund, plus there are 50 states, obviously, and one District of Columbia. So there are 52 different match funds that we've created. And we are working right now on spreading the word through the conscious capitalism community, through B corporations all across America, to help educate and inspire businesses and foundations and individuals to donate to this match fund. And we're going to keep working that match fund all the way through the end of this initiative, all the way through May 26th, because the more we can match to it, the more we all get. And the way the percentages work is you take a percentage, how much money did your organization raise, for example, in your state, compared to all of the money that was raised specifically in your state, and you're going to receive that percentage of the state-specific match fund. So it's going to be just a proportional amount based on how much your organization raised on the Giving Tuesday Now initiative platform. So it's a pretty simple formula, and the match funds will just be added to your payout check that you get beginning on June 9th.
Awesome. Here's a quick question that I want to answer. I think a lot of people will have that question themselves. The donor information is yours. You will get a donor report from the Giving Source platform. You can actually see it real time, but then also download it after it's all over, so you can do the thank yous and all of that. But also just know that the Giving Source platform takes care of all the required 501c3 things that the IRS cares about for a donor. So the official donor thank you will come from the platform, but of course, if you're going to be a good steward to your donors, you'll want to send some personal thank yous as well to those folks. But just know that the donor information is yours. FireSpring is not collecting that, or Giving Source platform is not collecting that for themselves. We don't need that.
And just one clarification on that, Randy, just to be clear, there is an ability for people to give anonymously. So of course, if someone checks anonymous, that's the only instance where you won't have that that donor information. And we do highly encourage you to send thank you notes and just grateful statements of appreciation to everyone who contributes on your page.
So Lucas is asking, is there a limit to the match? You know, is 10,000 per organization, or are you making any limits on any of that sort of stuff?
We are not making any limits on the matches. We want to again be incredibly equitable and fair in the way that it's done. So again, the more each individual nonprofit, the more in donations they can drive to their website, the higher amount, and the higher that percentage in terms of comparison to the overall state or national fund, the more matching funds you will receive. There is no limit.
Let's see. Could you go over the transaction fees are right there on the screen. People are asking about that. It's 2.9% plus 30 cents, and that's all that's going to come out of that. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the platform allows your donor to pay that too, right?
Yeah. It gives an option for the donor to essentially cover the fees. So the processing company will still get their fees, but the nonprofit, your nonprofit, would potentially get 100%, every cent of the transaction if the donor chooses to cover the processing fees when they make the donation. That's an option on the form that they're filling out to make their donation to you.
All right, and let's see here. I had a question, then I just lost it for a minute. It's all about the checks and ACH and any of that sort of thing. Jay, can you cover how that might work if someone wants to go by check or by ACH?
Yeah, there will be the ability on the donation page for any donor to send a check. There's a physical address listed. The donations are all being handled by the FireSpring Foundation, which is a 501c3 organization that is licensed as a donor-advised fund. FireSpring built several years ago a product called, it's a product specifically for giving days that makes it easy for anyone who's setting up a giving day of their own to use the technology open source. So we basically developed the technology and donated it back to the community as a way for any giving day to produce their own giving day without paying a lot of money to do it. And as part of that, Firespring went through the process of licensing as a donor-advised fund. So the money that comes into the account flows through the donor-advised fund, Firespring Foundation, and then is redistributed to each nonprofit based on where the designation of the donation was intended. And as part of all of that, to Randy's point, all of the aspects of reporting happen through the donor-advised fund. So you basically just get a check, and being able to send and receive checks as donations are built into the platform, as are the ability to go to a special landing page and do the donation via ACH or EFT. Those will be available as well.
So maybe you can give a little sneak peek to this afternoon's marketing webinar. Someone is asking, how would I explain the match to a potential donor?
Well, I would say if I'm having a conversation with a potential donor and they're thinking of giving, I would say, if you could please do us the favor of waiting to give the gift and to give it through this initiative, because every dollar that we raise through this particular initiative in this platform will have some aspect of a match fund available with it. We don't know what the match fund is going to total. We know that we've set our minimum goal at a $5 million match fund spread out across the states and the national fund. Now, in an ideal world, we would love to see that 50 million or, $100 million. We have no idea to know how large that's going to grow. We're working every possible perspective we can with national organizations, national media. We're working through a lot of the organizations and news outlets that are talking about Giving Tuesday Now, and the partnership between Giving Tuesday Now, Nonprofit Hub, Firespring, and Do More Good brings a lot of weight to it. So we're going to be leveraging all kinds of work to this. So if I'm talking to a donor, I'm going to ask them, would you wait? And beginning this Friday, the donor pool opens up. So anytime after Friday, if they're going to make a donation anyway to your organization, have them do it through the platform, because now it's going to get a match to it. And it'll be a proportional match, again, based on how much total the matching fund ends up being in compared to how much your organization raises in comparison to the other nonprofits in your state. So again, the proportional match fund means that every dollar that's given is going to be increased by some exponential component. It might be a penny. It might be a lot more than that. In fact, it probably will be a lot more than that. But we want to leverage those donations and extend the return on our investment on this. It's the whole point of doing this through a Giving Day platform that makes it possible for us to increase the effectiveness of the donations we're receiving from our existing donors.
All right, some questions about GuideStar, and I could probably cover some of this. If you go to guidestar.org and you search your nonprofit, you probably exist in there if you're a 501c3, because GuideStar just gets that information and puts it in their database. The difference is by you claiming it, and you can just claim it. It's pretty easy. It's a pretty step-by-step. If you claim it, then you can actually level up. They have kind of a leveling up system where you can be a bronze or a silver or a gold nonprofit, probably platinum. I can't remember all the different levels, but you can level up by giving more information to GuideStar, and by giving more information to GuideStar, you're giving more information to potential donors who see that you're a legitimate and awesome nonprofit organization. You can put your financials out there, which you have to show publicly anyway, so you might as well put it on GuideStar so that potential donors can see that. And then once you've claimed that, you are legit and ready to sign up at nonprofithub.org, Giving Tuesday Now, which a lot of people are asking about that. That's right on your screen there at the bottom line. And then you're ready to rock and roll. Any other final thoughts, Jay, that you wanted to share?
I just want to reiterate, Big Data did a research report on the importance of matching funds. We know that 84% of donors are more likely to give if they know that their donation is going to have some kind of matching component to it. That's a big differentiator in the whole scope of what's going on right now. So I encourage everyone that's participating in this session to not only contribute by participating, by getting your nonprofit signed up, but to share this and spread the word. Again, if every nonprofit that you're connected to knows about this initiative and goes and sets up and they bring their audience to the table, that is going to increase the match fund donors as well as the overall donations proportionally. And we want to really do everything we can together to be a community. Again, the rising tide lifts all boats. Let's work together as a community to raise the awareness about this opportunity and this matching fund so that we can get some much needed relief for the nonprofits that are doing the real work in our communities around the U.S. So today, your action step is just simply go to nonprofithub.org/GivingTuesdayNow, sign up to be notified. You will be notified on Thursday morning that the website is ready to go, and then you can go in and update your profile, get it posted. In the meantime, you might want to go search for your organization on GuideStar and make sure that you are posted out there, because there is time to go and make sure you claim that and you do that if not. Let's do this together. Thank you so much for all of your time and attention and for helping elevate and raise the bar with this.
And thank you, Jay, for partnering with us to make this all happen. We really appreciate it, and we know that these are times where we're all affected by what's going on out in our world, and we're all important to the sector. You know, like the arts are equally as important as some other things that are going on. For instance, you know, eventually we're all going to need this help. So I appreciate you partnering with us on all of this. Thanks.
Thank you, Randy. Everybody have a great day.